Welcome to the Back to Life podcast, where we explore living well, loving well, and being well. I'm your host, Nicole, and I invite you to tune in for inspirational conversations to get you back to life. Let's get started. Hey there, everyone. We are back with the Back to Life podcast. I'm your host, Nicole, and I'm so glad you're here for our 6th episode. And of course, I am being joined here in this conversation on friendshipping with my therapist friend, Kelly. Hey, Kelly.
Hi, Nicole. Hi, everyone. I am excited to dive into today's topic. Complete opposite of last week, last episode.
Oh, yeah.
Because we're talking about frenemies and friendship threats.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Today, we're going to be exploring healthy versus unhealthy friendships and navigating those friendship breakups, things we don't talk about.
You said I can't talk about it.
Well, we're talking about it and identifying red flags now. We flipped from the green. Now we're going to the red.
Do not pass go.
Do not pass go.
Do not collect $200.
Yeah. You ready to jump in?
Let's do it.
Okay. All right. First up. Healthy versus unhealthy friendships. All right, Kelly, how are we going to distinguish between healthy friendships and an unhealthy one?
Well, healthy friendships is where, you have mutual respect. We discussed a lot about that last time, where you feel supported, where you feel that emotional security, where you have utilized vulnerability and forgiveness within the relationship.
Yeah.
And you still feel secure, where you feel valued, where you feel heard, where you feel understood. You can be yourself, where you truly can have those hard, honest conversations without feeling judged. You're not feeling judged. Your mask is off and you are welcome. Your weird is there.
Yeah. It's welcome.
There's no criticism. And I mean, unhealthy relationships, not so good. So, but I think the healthy ones are the ones that we really like. You are excited to talk to this person.
Yeah. You're
excited that they reached out.
You're not kind of like, here we go again.
Wednesday again.
Yeah, if you got to sigh before, or
if you need to ground yourself before the interaction,
that's a problem.
Yeah.
Well, healthy friendships are uplifting. They bring out the best in both people, like we just said. And, there's a balance of give and take. There's reciprocity here. And you feel emotionally safe and secure. That's that same common theme.
Yeah.
Is about that, that feeling safe and secure.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and so like you think about that and you feel that safety and that security and that support and the wanting to be a better human and all those things. And you think about the relationships that are harboring those. And then the other hand, right? The unhealthy friendships, you're feeling like you're drained every single time you hang out with them. You're just like, why?
And that's the question.
Yeah. Why?
Why?
And then, or it feels even like toxic. Like you either feel like you're constantly being criticized, undervalued. I feel like the real popular one is there's always a comparison statement about everything, right? Yeah. Like, oh, well, you wouldn't understand because of whatever, or you don't know because you've never experienced this, or those
conversations,
right?
Yeah.
Those, but like that constant. And I also feel like the gossiping about other people, if that's where the focus is, every single conversation you have with someone, they're talking about you too. So
be mindful.
Yeah, they're talking about someone else. They're talking about you.
Yep.
Or like you have to walk on eggshells. Like no matter what you say is going to trigger some reaction and not a response.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? That leads us to our next point, friendship breakups. Because, it's inevitable if we're going in that direction.
It is.
It's so hard to say goodbye to a friend. Regardless. I mean, it doesn't.
So
now,
hard
exactly. All these
to say goodbye.
Hey, I'm listening to music when you're thinking about these things, right? Yeah. But no, it is hard to say goodbye to a friend. I mean, just as breakups with a significant other is devastating, it's also devastating with our friendships. And this is something we don't talk about, you know, and we don't talk about enough, I don't think.
No one talks about it.
No, but sometimes it's necessary for our well-being. How do you navigate friendship breakups?
Well, I just cut them all off. No.
Okay.
If it were that easy, then we wouldn't have a whole episode on this, would we?
No.
No. So friendship breakups, they're almost exactly like a romantic relationship breakup.
Yeah.
Or you think about, I see it everywhere on social media now, the cutting off family members that might not be the healthiest in your life. And
it's the disconnection.
Right. Well, and you don't think about it in the sense of what all emotions are involved, but you are literally likely to go through the whole grief process. And this friend might not know every single secret about you, but you can still experience that entire grief process. And the amount of emotions that are tied into it and involved, it's not just you in this relationship. It's you bring in a whole bunch of other aspects of yourself into this breakup.
Yeah.
And it's really important. And we likely forget that we have to honor the feelings that we are experiencing and recognize that, your gut feeling is most likely right. You need to end this relationship, this friendship. You need to get out of it.
Yeah.
You wake up every day and you're like, every single time I'm with this person, I feel drained, or I feel worse about myself, or I feel worse about the world, or worse about everyone else around me. What's the common denominator in all of these interactions? So trust yourself and allow yourself to recognize when a relationship is no longer serving you for a positive, healthy purpose. And also allow yourself to feel and acknowledge the emotions throughout the entire breakup process.
Feel your feelings. Go through the grieving process.
Yeah,
absolutely. Sometimes we outgrow our friendships, or we realize that it's just not healthy, like you just said, and that's okay. Because sometimes letting go is the healthiest choice you can make for yourself. Don't get me wrong, when you have a severing of any kind of relationship,
it does not feel good.
It does not feel good. Like I said, we were made to connect with others. And so when we sever that, we feel it. We feel it deeply. And I think sometimes people, have you ever heard, like, I don't care, it doesn't matter. Yes, it does.
Girl, you lie.
You are smiling while you lie.
You lie.
Stop. Yeah. You're lying, because it does. And, feel that, and acknowledge that you are grieving a loss. Whether it was necessary, they needed to get out of your life, it's still a loss.
Well, and with all of that, the emotions that we do feel, it is a loss. And down the road, are we going to be grateful that we did sever the tie and we feel this kind of relief, or like the weight off our shoulders? Yes. But in the moment, it's still severing this relationship.
For sure.
And so it's still very hard. And we also have to recognize that with any breakup, relationship, friendships, anything, we have to handle it with empathy, honesty with ourselves, mostly, right?
Yeah.
And with care and an allowance of ourselves to go through the whole process. When we are having those conversations with this friend that we want to end this friendship with, we also have to be very mindful and recognize that what we say and how we say is going to affect them, right? So we have to make sure that we are bringing in that mutual respect. We're bringing in the respectful conversation, if it is possible, because it's not always possible.
It's not.
Or sometimes you need to take a step back and give yourself a little bit of space.
Yeah.
So you can kind of reflect on how this breakup is going to look. And also allow yourself to prioritize you and your well-being throughout this entire process. But
wait a minute, what do you mean how it's going to look?
Are you going to have this big explosive conversation? You're going to end it. It's going to be dramatic.
I was like, who cares what other people think?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
No, because ending this relationship is about me, what I need for this moment in terms of what it looks like. Am I going to give them a phone call and call them?
Gotcha.
Am I going to write them a Dear John letter?
Yeah.
Am I going to meet for coffee and say, listen, I can't do this anymore?
Well, hopefully you won't do it over a text.
Am I going to do it over a text? What is it going to look like?
Don't do that.
Typically not the healthiest way, but like, what is the breakup going to look like?
Yeah.
And how are you going to manage it? Now we can prepare ourselves to have that respectful conversation to end the friendship.
Well, yeah, because, you know, when you think about it, like I said, we're talking about ways in which you can navigate it. And technically in the moment, we don't always go, okay, now let's see, how are we going to do this? And, you know, we don't break it down, but it is important to think about these things. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? We don't know what we'll do in the moment. Right. But we do know that if there are things that are coming up and you're preparing and you're considering it, it's good to kind of think about what that looks like. Right. You know? So with that, let's kind of talk a little bit about those red flags of friendship. We've identified 7 common red flags to watch out for in our friendships. Mm-hmm. And if you get a chance, go into the show notes and take our true false quiz to see, you know, about your own relationships. But for right now, the 7 common red flags are: 1, walking on eggshells constantly around them. You're always on edge. You know, nobody wants to live like that. No. 2, they never take responsibility for their actions towards you.
That's what I was going for. A couple episodes ago.
Just you know.
Take ownership.
3, frequent criticisms of you. Always have something to say, you know?
Well, that hair is a choice. Yeah. Well, that outfit's a choice.
Yeah, and it's like me. Okay. Anyway, sorry. Back. 4, frequently canceling plans at the last minute without honest communication. That's one. It's kind of like you said when we were talking about mutual respect. It's like just respecting. Just don't make the plans.
Respect my time.
Don't make the plans. Right. Know? 5, you don't like who you are around them, and so you like if you're feeling small or feeling inadequate, and you know it's always you're unsure of yourself whenever you're in their presence. That's not good. You know, that's not good. Our friends build us up, not tear us down. 6.
Well, red flag versus green flag. Yeah.
Yeah. Duh. Yeah. 6. They appear bored when you talk to them about things you feel passionate about. If you were sitting up there and you're like, oh my gosh, and this, and they're like, oh.
Yeah.
Come on.
No, I think about like two people that I'm like, oh, I'm going to do this. And they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so happy that you're doing that. And they're like, what are your plans? And you're like, you have no idea what I'm talking about, but let's talk about it.
Yeah, but engagement, or at least just go, wow, that sounds interesting. Instead of like, oh, what were you saying?
Okay, cool.
You know?
Neat.
And number 7, their conversation revolves around dismissing kind, honest, and successful people. Haters.
Yeah.
Basically.
Gossiping.
You're
about
just
someone else.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, you know, when you sit there and you're thinking about it, you know, you're just like, why would you sit, you know, with people who that's all they do? They're just haters, you know?
Well, because the thing is, especially with like social media, right?
Yeah.
It's that comparison. We compare ourselves to other people in 2 ways. Either they're prettier than me, they're more successful than me, look how great they are and how bad I am. Or look at her, well, she's not that pretty. Well, she's not that successful. I'm better than her at this. Yeah. I can do this better than him. I'm better than him. We compare ourselves either to reinforce that negative self or we negate other people so we can try and make ourselves feel bigger. And so when you go into that, we're hating on other people because we're feeling insecure for ourselves.
Oh, for sure.
And if you're going to bring that insecurity into this emotional safe space with me, every single time we talk, I mean, there are days, right? Like there's moments where I'm feeling low and I want to compare myself to someone because I need to feel good for this one time, maybe. But every single conversation,
it's like everything. No,
they're worthless. Look how bad they are. They should be able to do better. I'm better than them.
You have to tear somebody down to build yourself up. That's not healthy.
I can't sit in that mental space, and I'm putting myself in that space every single time I'm in a conversation with this person.
No,
thank you.
Yes,
no. That's what leads into that toxic kind of friendship area, and you start feeling your mentality and your thought process changes.
Yeah,
you don't realize it until like, oh, I'm starting to turn into this like negative comparison person to myself, and I don't see progress or positivity in my life. And so it's really important to pay attention how you feel in those friendships, because it's really telling to whether that's an unhealthy or toxic relationship. And you also need to understand that you need to trust your gut. Your instincts are most likely right.
Yeah. So I have a reflection. I have a reflection now. So for our listeners, okay, as you're reflecting on your friendships, have you noticed any red flags? You know, how do these friendships make you feel? The ones, you know, like I said, the people that you invite into your life, how do you feel when you're in their presence? What does that look like for you? It's okay to set boundaries or even walk away if needed to protect your well-being. But before you do that, let's not be reactive here, you know.
Well, no, I'm just
no, but sometimes you got to specify that, you know, because sometimes people are like, nope, and they walk away, and it's just kind of like, no, we're talking about like notice patterns in your relationship,
right? Well, and it's like if you think about throughout life, and like, well, I don't know, we're going to a little bit younger, and it's like this one group of friends, and you're like, man, so and so is just such a Debbie Downer, and you can talk to 20 different people,
and it's a pattern.
Every single one of them says, "Oh, you mean Debbie Downer?"
Yeah.
Okay, so there's one commonality between these people and their experiences, and it's Debbie Downer.
Yeah.
Right. So okay, well, I don't have to cut off being their friend altogether.
No.
But I can limit my conversations with them. I can limit how I communicate to them.
Yeah.
Same thing with the person that's always gossiping about other people and putting people down. Okay, well, I'm not going to tell you my intimate details.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you I got a promotion. You can go talk negatively about my promotion to someone else. That's fine.
Or maybe I just don't share that with you.
Right. But like it's you don't have to cut every person off.
No.
Right. It's
respond, not react.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it's, if you're constantly being met by red flags,
that's a problem.
Right. And you are now set with the responsibility to set boundaries for yourself, or to change the relationship and how it is.
Yeah. Well said.
Yeah.
Well said. Well, that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Back to Life podcast. And thank you, Kelly, for your insights in this conversation.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Sure. We hope you found today's discussion helpful in navigating your friendships. Remember, it's important to surround yourself with supportive and positive relationships for your own mental well-being.
Yes.
Until next time, take care and cherish the friendships that bring you joy and positivity. Take care. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts and stories about this series that we're talking about. You can follow us online at our website or on socials, and information about that is in the show notes. Be well.